up, everybody? Welcome to episode 5 of Taiyo. Taiyo is an Animal Crossing podcast. It's super chill, super relaxed, and of course, super fun. I'm your host, Drake, and in today's episode, I'll be talking about a recent leak by a user on Twitter with the handle of... I'm trying to pronounce this. Cabrera Leak. I'll go in depth with my opinions on that list and its contents later. First, though, I actually want to talk about the podcast. As current listeners would know, it's been about a month, almost 2 months actually, since the podcast has had its last upload, episode 4. And that one wasn't the best quality, okay? That one was done in a weird location. I was trying to get it all done, and I figured out a new spot since then that I can record my episodes and upload them. So I'll have better quality for you guys once again. Now, honestly, I'm going to talk about why that's happened just real quick, and then I'm going to talk about a little more about the podcast in just a second. But it's honestly because of the schoolwork that I've been, really struggling with these last few weeks. Like, if you guys were on Twitter following the podcast, I think like a month ago I tweeted saying that I was super busy with art projects, and that is true. But just last week, since I am on spring break now, just last week I had like 3 finals and 3 art critiques, which is like a presentation and evaluation of your artwork, essentially. So I had 6 tests / projects due last week, and that was a huge stress because, as you know, there's only 4 days in the week, and I only had 2 class days to work on that. Okay, so I had 2 class days. That's when everything was divided up between, 3 class days that everything was divided up in, right? I was in school on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. That's when my stuff was going on, right? So I had 6 things due in 3 days worth of time, and that was a struggle. So yeah, that's the main reason I have not been able to upload for the longest time. I love doing this podcast. I love seeing the response and the comments from you guys. I've gotten so many amazing comments from so many of you guys, and I love each and every one of you so much. But I've been super busy, and the good news is that I'm actually on spring break right now, which is why I decided this would be a perfect time to bring the podcast back into full swing and talk about and discuss, I guess that's the same term, whatever, Animal Crossing Switch leading up to its reveal and release. And I thought this would be a great time. Now, you may be wondering, what if I just get busy again, right? Won't I just get busy? I mean, you'd have a point, right? But even better news, I only have classes 2 days a week from this point up until the end of the school year. I only have class on Tuesdays and Thursdays, which means I have plenty of time throughout the week to figure out when I'm going to upload and, well, not upload. I already know that's Wednesdays, right? But to edit and record the videos and just upload them. So I've got a lot more time now than I used to. That means I'm going to be uploading more, right? So that's a huge improvement from my old schedule where I was in class 4 days a week. But episodes are going to be a little different, okay? So I know I'm talking about this a lot, and I know you guys want to get on to the actual leak that I'm going to be talking about here. But no, all these episodes are going to be set up just a little bit differently from now on, and by that I don't mean the entire podcast is changing, right? I just mean that the episodes will now be 30 minutes instead of an hour. I know that a lot of my viewers, well, not a lot, but a couple of my viewers were complaining about it being an hour long, and I honestly felt like that was a long time to record for it. Like, I felt like that was a long time, especially because I ended up rambling half the stinking podcast, right? So, this being shorter means that there's less rambling on my end, and there's less time on your end that you are wasting, okay? The episodes you know and love will still be here to stay, okay? It's not going away. The episodes are still going to have the same charm, same music, same everything. It's just going to be a little shorter, and by a little, I mean half of it, okay? Half of this gone. We'll see how it goes for a few episodes. If you guys think it's too short, too brief, I'll increase it up to like 45 minutes or so, okay? I just thought that an hour is a little long, although a lot of podcasts do an hour. I mean, even me, I struggle to listen to podcasts for an hour at a time. So I think a 30-minute podcast would probably be a pretty good amount of time to record for, right? Now, moving on, though. Okay, so I'm done talking about the podcast, okay? Podcast is here to stay. I'm going to try to upload every week, every other week. It depends on what I can fit into my schedule now because I'm going to be working on a lot of art projects from here on out since the only classes I have left are just art. So Just keep that in mind. I'll try, though, to get more episodes out, to talk more about Animal Crossing, to talk about Pocket Camp, the Switch release, New Leaf, everything you guys want to talk about. But in recent news, though, right, this is what we're talking about today. This is a long list of leaks. So this is why I'm going to be talking about this for the next 25 minutes, okay? I'll put the link in the description of this, the leak in the description of the episode. That's going to be over on YouTube, okay? I'm not going to put the link over here on Spotify or on SoundCloud. It's just going to be on YouTube. So if you want to go find it, go search up Taiyo Podcast, same spelling, on YouTube. You'll find the link in the description of that video. While you're there, be sure to like it, comment, subscribe, okay? With that shameless plug out of the way, I just need to talk about some of the English on this because it's kind of choppy in some parts. I don't think he really went in depth with his editing and grammar, so I feel like it's a little choppy. So I'm gonna try to make it more understandable for anyone who doesn't know what some of this means on the list, because some of it is a little confusing. So I'll just go through the list. It's like 15 bullet points long or something. It's a long list of leaks, and honestly, I'm gonna say right before we start, I think half of these are just him, for lack of a better term, just pulling stuff out of his butt cheeks. Okay, I don't want to curse. Okay, but he's pulling stuff out of his butt, honestly, because a lot of this is either self-explanatory or just guessed, and it doesn't make sense, Okay, so the first one, right? The villager cap is increased. Okay, so this is one that we've talked about plenty of times in the podcast. And then it makes sense, right? With a larger town, you get more villagers, okay? But he says it varies on the town size you pick. Now, this is already setting off a red flag in my mind, okay? Because there's no way Animal Crossing would ever say, here. Well, I mean, they could, but I don't think they would just say, here, you can decide, do you want a small town or a large town? I feel like that's a little weird. They haven't done that at all. I mean, they already went in too far, I guess, with deciding what you wanted your town to look like, right? Not like the public works projects, but where do you want on these maps? You can look at 4 of them and decide which one you like the most, which, I mean, they didn't go too overboard with that, luckily, but are they really going to do this? I don't think they'll do a town size, okay? And this is just the first bullet point, so you guys will see what I mean here. The second one, and this one is completely useless, HD fully rendered 3D graphics and textures. Okay, we're on an HD console, we get it. There's going to be HD graphics, okay? That one, self-explanatory, it makes sense. It's Pocket Camp and Happy Home, no, not Happy Home Designer, sorry, Amiibo Festival. We're both HD, so I mean, this is going to be 1080p now, though, in beautiful graphics, okay, so, and textures, so I think it'll look better than the other ones, but it's been HD for a couple years now. This one has been brought up for a while. There will be optional jobs you can apply for as an extra way to earn bells around your town. That one's pretty cool. Okay, I'll say that one's pretty cool, because in New Leaf we have the Roost, right? So the Roost, you make coffee for your villagers and other special villagers, and you get coffee grounds based on how you did on that shift. I don't think there's any use for them except for selling them at retail. If you do really good, if you get everything perfect, you get the superb coffee beans, which are worth 2,000 bells. So every single time you work, every day you work, you get $2,000, right? But it'd be cool to have multiple jobs or just an extra one, and then you can just make even more money, right? Because 2,000, yes, it helps you, but it's kind of a small number compared to even the money rock. Like, even if you don't try on the money rock, you can still get 8,000 bells or 16,000 bells, like, I think they need to bump that up for the next game if they do, continue this. But I think that's a good way to do it. I think that's I wouldn't be surprised if that made it into the game, right? So the next one also is not really a leak. It's more of just information. He says the game has been in development since 2016. He doesn't say when, but again, we already knew this. I wouldn't even be surprised if it was started even before then, right? Because let's think about the Wii U. The Wii U is very similar to the Switch, and that was out a long, long time ago. What, like 2012 or whatever is when that was out. So, I mean, I can see where he's coming from, saying 2016, but I don't know. Not really useful here, But, I mean, it's cool that he put that in there, right? I mean, I feel like he should have put that at the end. There's, like, some information at the end that will, that he'll talk about. I think he should have put a couple of these from the list in that section because there's no reason they should be up here. Next one, the daily billboard messages are back. I think that was in Population Growing and Wild World, I think. I don't know. I think it might have just been Population Growing where whenever you went into your town, there was a new billboard message like every single day. It was really weird. It's self-explanatory, daily billboard messages. I like the idea of that, but I don't as well because my billboard already gets crowded with a bunch of stuff that I don't want on there. So to have not only the public works projects, okay, the events, the donations that have been completed, the building of new stores, upgrades, sales, I don't know if I already said sales, all of that mixed with the daily messages, that's a lot of messages to go through every single day. You're going to miss most of your messages because, let's face it, we don't always play Animal Crossing every single day, right? So, I don't know if I like that one. And I'm sorry that I'm sounding like, icky because I'm sick, actually. I just came down with a cold, and this dang weather's changing, and it's like 60 degrees again today. It was like 30 yesterday or something, 40, I don't even know, but yeah, I'm getting a little sick, so just keep that in mind. Just be a little lenient with me. I'm trying, but a couple of these, like I was saying before, I don't agree with some of these, and I do hope for a lot of these, but I feel like a couple could be done without, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a couple of these, because there's a couple more, like 3 or 4 more that are just really just not reasonable, or ones that I should not expect, okay? So, the next one, though, is nice. That one's creating actual paths, okay? Because if you didn't watch episode 4, go back and watch that real quick. Pause this video, go watch that. I'll let you go watch it, okay? Just go ahead and watch that real quick. Alright, so, now that you watched it, okay, it actually, AJ and I talked about this. We talked about actual pathways. And we talked about how, instead of putting down brick pathways, right, like QR codes, and hearing the sound of grass underneath the pathway, what if you heard actual stone, or, brick, which is clay, but whatever. What if you heard that instead of the grass? Okay, so each and every QR code has their own sound effect based on what you choose. So if you wanted a stone one, you chose a stone sound effect. If you wanted a wooden one, you chose a wooden sound effect. It would make it so much better, and the immersion would be so much more, I guess, what am I trying to say? The immersion would be much more present. There we go. So, I think that this one I can really get behind because AJ and I, we talked about this. I know so many people want this, and I actually agree with this because I have all brick pathways in my town. Okay, so, I always hear the grass sound effect, no matter where I'm walking. And I don't run because, I don't want to hear that. So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see the decay of my grass. So I just try to keep it on the low. Just keep, just walking everywhere. Okay, no running. But I feel like this could definitely help out. And I think this would be a really nice touch. But speaking of my town, okay, I'm going to stop for a second on this leak list. I want to talk about this, okay? A while ago, I recorded a video and I never uploaded it. It was a video, of the tour of my town, Taiyo, okay? And I had the entire thing just filmed. Wasn't very great quality, but, I don't have a capture card for my 3DS, so whatever. But I'm thinking, if you guys want to see that, go ahead and tell me on Twitter. I have my Twitter somewhere linked on everything. Taiyo Podcast, just search that up on Twitter, on YouTube, on SoundCloud, Spotify, whatever you're on, search that up, and just tell me. Just tell me if you want another one of those, because I will upload this time. Since it is spring, I've updated the heck out of the town. So if you guys want to see a tour of it before we close out New Leaf on the, the chapters of this stinking franchise, then just tell me and I'll make a video about it, because I really want to give you guys a tour of it, and I want to put up a dream address for it so you guys can experience it on your own. But I'm probably going to hold off until the Switch version comes out, because I don't want to upload it until I know where I'm stopping, So just tell me, and then closer to the release, I will make a video on it and I'll upload it. I think it'll be really cool. I think you guys will enjoy it. I've been working my ass off on this town for about a year now. A year and a month, I think it is now. And it's starting to come along. It is starting to come along. So, yeah, I'm definitely down to do that. Just tell me down below if you want to see that, if you want to watch that, or experience it via Dream Address, whatever you want to do. Just tell me, and I'll let you guys know at a later date. Okay. The next one. Okay, this one is what gets me. Okay, no loading screens. I'm just letting it sink in. Just a few more seconds. Yeah, no, okay, so you heard that correct. No loading screens. This is a pile of bull, okay? And I can tell you why. There is no way they're going to render the inside of the buildings, the outside of the buildings, the town, the shoreline, the main street, the city, any of the shops, all at once. The Switch is a powerful system, right? But no, it's not that powerful. And we can talk about Breath of the Wild as much as we want, how that's open world and how that's all rendered. But in reality, it's not. Other games, and this is what I don't think this person understands, is that these games that are large in 3D that don't have as many loading screens, they do a thing called chunking, okay? And it's not, I don't think that's the scientific term of it, right? That's not the actual term, but it's called chunking. Chunking is where whatever's visible to the player is whatever's rendered. Everything around that is not rendered. So even that's the only way you can do that. In Animal Crossing, there's no way to do that because when you get rid of the chunking in these games, the simulation stops. But in Animal Crossing, no matter where you're at in town, since there is that loading screen, the entire outdoors to your town is simulated at once. So everyone can move around wherever they want, inside, outside, and they always respawn in different positions when you leave and enter buildings, okay? Getting rid of that and doing chunking is going to ruin the entire simulation of the game. They can make it work. They can render just the characters on, like, by themselves moving around in different areas. They can code that, whatever. But the chances of that are very unlikely, especially because you have to render all of the furniture items. Let's say you have a big house, okay? They're going to have to render all those furniture items across all of your villagers. If you have a huge town, you're going to have to do that across like 15 houses. And that's a lot of strain to put on just one game, okay, at one time. Other games don't even do that much, okay? So let's say it like that. I don't think this is reasonable. Loading screens are really mandatory. I don't see the issue with loading screens, honestly. Yes, if they're a couple seconds shorter. But there's nothing... So the loading screens in New Leaf are only a couple seconds long. Same with Pocket Camp. I don't see the issue. I don't see why we need to worry about no loading screens. And you can go through and look through all the comments on this leak, and a lot of it's just saying, oh, this is all fake. I want this, but I don't think it's real. And a lot of people are saying that they don't think this is going to happen, the no loading screens. I agree. I really do not think that that's going to happen. Like, there is no way that they're going to do that. I don't think it's smart for the system. Okay, I mean, yes, the Switch is powerful, but so many games still rely on loading screens just because they don't have to put as much strain on the hardware. If you put a ton of strain on the hardware for most of its lifespan, it's going to have some issues. Why do that? Just don't put a strain on it and make the entire game lag out. Because if you put that much strain on it, the game's going to start lagging. Nobody wants their Animal Crossing to lag. I mean, that's not a game you want to lag. Of course, you don't want any game to lag, but especially not Animal Crossing. That game is based on slow-moving, realistic time, just relaxing and having fun. And if there's parts of the gameplay where my frame rate drops like really heavily and, I can't do anything about it, that ruins my entire immersion, okay? So I'd rather have the loading screens just to make the game run better, to make the game larger, to make it have a grander scale. I think it would be so much easier and a lot smarter to make it have loading screens. So that's just one that I cannot agree with. Not yet, not with our current technology, not with the Switch, okay? I just think that's a little awkward. And the next one as well is one that I also think is really awkward. Choosing your town type, okay? This one, okay, so I talked to someone on a server that I'm on, and his name is Lee, and he was actually, him and I were joking around about this. He said that the new game was going to be on an island, okay? It's going to be like an island resort, okay? Or like just a town on the island, and you just build there. And we were kind of going back and forth about it, and I was talking about how that completely ruins the entire idea of seasonal bug catches, fish catches, all these different things. It wouldn't make sense, right? and it would take out like half of the bugs, half of the fish, everything about the game, right? And this one, they say, choose town type and size. Examples, island, desert, etc. First of all, we have never seen a desert in Animal Crossing ever. Why would they start now? Second, the island has always been a standalone, separate experience, okay? It's always been just summer only. You travel there paying 1,000 bells, okay? In the GameCube version, you had to get the Game Boy Advance or whatever and do the connecting thing, the Game Boy Connect. I forgot what it was called. But no, there's no way they're going to have different types of environments that you can choose from. I just cannot see that happening. That one's a no from me. But the next one, I'm going to start going through these really quick because I want to try to get this done and over with. This list is so long, okay? And it might be too long to even be a real leak because this is ridiculous, okay? It says over 100 new animals, including new species such as bats. It seems like a lot of people are talking about bats, and that makes me think that maybe we will see that because, I mean, there's a lot of people saying this, okay? I'm just saying. That's all I can say about that one. I think that they're definitely going to include more animals, and they might include bats. I think that'd be a really cool inclusion. They say, and this one is one I really don't like, you can move things in your house with guests over. But what if you have 2 rooms, right? What if the person's in the other room and you just put a furniture item in the way of their doorway? Then they can't get out. They just sit there and they're stuck in the doorway. And they can't move the furniture. It's not their house, right? Makes no sense, okay? I can see it with, like, animals. And, you know, because they follow you throughout the rooms, I can see that, but not other players. Never gonna happen. New clothing. That's a shoo-in, okay? New types of fish, bugs, etc. That's also a shoo-in. The flea market makes a return, which I think is actually pretty cool. I don't remember the flea market too much, actually. I don't really remember that. I'll do some research on it and find out more about it, but it sounds cool. It sounds kind of cool. And here is one that really hurts me. The game runs at 60 FPS in handheld. You're telling me that this is going to be the first game on the Nintendo Switch that runs at 60 FPS regardless, let alone in handheld mode. Okay, every other game on the Switch is topped out at 30 FPS. A lot of the times it's at 20 to 30 FPS. There is no way they're going to put 60 FPS in the game on handheld. I could see it on the TV maybe. No, I could see it on handheld, I guess, compared to TV. Because it's a different resolution, right? But in reality, I don't think it's based on handheld, because all you're doing is just upscaling your pixels. If you do 1080p on TV, yeah, I can see it being slower, but 60 FPS is a lot to ask from that little thing. So I think we'll be lucky to get 60. I guarantee we'll get 30, because the only game that I can remember that had 60 FPS was the GameCube game. Every other game since then has had 30 FPS. That's just how it is. It's not that big of a deal. The next one is really nice, which is 8-player online multiplayer with Nintendo Switch Online subscription. Without that, though, only 2 players can interact at a time, apparently. So I think this is cool, but I think that it should be 4 players for the people without the subscription, not 2. But honestly, with how Nintendo's taking Nintendo Switch Online, we're definitely just going to see either completely online or no online. There's no in between. If you don't have a subscription, you can't play online. That's just how it's going to be. Now, they will do local internet still, though, right? They'll do local internet. They'll do LAN, which is local access network or whatever. They'll do that, and I can see that working. But if you don't have an online subscription, I'm sorry, guys. You're just not going to be able to play online with people over the internet. It's just not going to happen. It's not a thing anymore. That's just every game console's doing it. They just got to deal with it. But that leads into the next one, right? Which is split screen. And I mean, that's cool and everything, but why would you do split screen for Animal Crossing? Okay, like they say split screen co-op with 2 Joy-Cons is possible. No. I mean, it'd be cool, I guess, for people that, don't want to share But even then, with the Switch, you just make multiple profiles and you can have different save data on each of those profiles. You can easily have like 15 towns on your Switch. I don't know what the limit is for profiles, but you can easily just have a bunch of towns on your Switch. There's no need for split screen. I mean, that's cool for like tours and stuff if they bring back Tortimer Island, but I don't know. I don't really see that happening. I mean, that'd be cool. It's a nice little perk if it's included, but I don't know if it will be. Town layers will make a return, which we already know is definitely going to be a thing. Every single console game so far has had layers. There's only 3 of them, including this one. So, I mean, I think that'll be it. They're definitely going to be in there, though. Amiibo support, I mean, yeah, that's a shoo-in. And there's only a couple more now, and I'm trying to get through these as quick as possible. This is such a long list, though. Like, I should have split this up into multiple episodes. That's how long this leak is. That's why I think this leak is fake, personally. But the next one, which is really cool, is Windows will no longer be a flat surface from indoors. So, that was already reworded by me, but in case that's even confusing, that means you'll be able to see outside from the inside of your house. So, you'll see all the public works projects, all your villagers walking around, all of the grass and the snow and the trees and the rain and the weather effects and all that. You'll be able to see that from inside the house. And that's cool and all, but if they don't do... The next one will go more in depth about this, but if they don't do what this next one says, then this makes no sense because there's no way they would do this. I'm going to talk about this real quick. This also goes with the 360-degree rotational camera inside and outdoors. Don't think we need it. Honestly, I do not think we need outdoor 360 degrees. It would be a really nice perk, but that's a huge change. That is a huge change compared to the 2.5D that we're used to with Animal Crossing currently. That means that it's at like a 45-degree angle looking down at the character from only one angle, and that's just straightforward towards the back cliff, towards the marketplace. I don't think they'll do a 360-degree outdoor camera. I've seen this a couple times over a couple years. People have been talking about this. But, I mean, it'd be cool and all, but don't hold your breath for it, honestly. But hey, if it's there, I mean, I'll be pleasantly surprised because screenshots will be so much better. But another thing that's not included on here, and this is one that I want, is if they're doing 360-degree rotation for the outdoor and indoor area, I want 360-degree, or at least like 45 degrees, for rotational value for public works projects. And that's a little confusing, but I want to be able to place my public works projects diagonally then and more freely in the map. I feel like we can only place it one way currently. So being able to rotate it and put it 45 degrees at like a diagonal and all kinds of different things like that, that would make sense with this, right? With the windows being invisible and you being able to look outside, the 360-degree camera, I mean, it all goes together and it all makes sense. So the thing is that if they want to do one of these, they have to do all of them, honestly, because it just makes sense to do all 3. There's only 2 more now, and I'll talk about these really quick because they're really small, is overhauling the friendship system. That's not that bad. I mean, honestly, I think that it could definitely use some different perks because it's kind of obnoxious to only be able to talk to best friends on New Leaf, because if you ever played New Leaf and you ever played online, you know that you can add people as friends like on your 3DS, but you can also add them as best friends in the game. Best friends in the game have special access to the town whenever you set it up like that. So you can do 2 different types of lobbies whenever someone wants to visit your town. You either do friends or best friends. So friends, anyone on your 3DS can join the town whenever they want when it's open. Best friends is only people you have added in the game as a best friend that can visit the town. And that by itself doesn't seem too bad. But I think that there should be a different option for blacklisting who can come in and who can come out, like whenever they want, like, or even not allowing all your friends on your 3DS to talk to you via the chat function versus just best friends, because then you don't have to worry about as many people coming to your town, but you can still talk to them. Because the only reason I add people as best friends really on Animal Crossing is because I can talk to them just over the internet while we're both in our own towns. It makes sense to do that. But if I can talk to anyone, and set certain people as best friends and only allow those certain people without having to worry about adding them to talk to them, then I think we're in a better position. So that's what I think they might be my overhaul. But this last one, I don't really think I even want to talk about this one. They're saying balls are making a return. And I think that'd be cool, but I kind of don't want them back. Because if you remember population growing, they had like soccer balls and basketballs. I think I talked about this in like the first episode or second episode, one of those two. And like it's cool, but it's not really necessary. Okay, it doesn't really fit in anymore. The game has moved more from that to design your town and public works projects and make it look cool and beautiful. And I think that the balls were honestly just because the old games didn't have as much going on for them as in town building. So they were just like, hey, do a bunch of random stuff with villagers and then boom, that's what you get. So I mean, this list is cool and all, but this is what makes me think that some of this is just BS or just a speculation, because half of this doesn't really make sense. The other half is just a pipe dream. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I get it. I really hope for some of these. I really do. But I don't think this is an actual leak, because a lot of people were talking about how this was a leak. Some people were saying how it wasn't a leak, how it was fake. And I honestly agree with the fake part, because I can't see this being an actual leak. It's one, it's too long. Two, it's ridiculous, half of these. And three, I mean, well, there's not really a third one. I just think that it's from an account that doesn't really have any followers. He's never been proven right on anything. He's just some new dude that came up, and there's only like 180 likes or whatever on this tweet. It's not really that popular yet. It's coming from a small account with not a lot of followers, who's never been right about any of his speculations before. I guess there was one that he was correct about, but it was just him guessing a March event for Nintendo, which happened last year, which, I mean, whatever. It could be real. Some of these could be real, I should say, but some of these just don't seem like they're reasonable. I don't see them happening. And that might just be me being crazy. That might be me disagreeing with you guys. But at this point, I've kind of gotten over the hype of Animal Crossing Switch, and now I'm just like, it'll happen when it happens, you know? And I'll talk more about that in depth next week. Go ahead and check out that one next week. I think it'll be next week. It might be a week after. It'll probably be next week, okay? So check that one out. But I don't know. I'll talk more about it next week, okay? But the leaker also said, this is the last thing, this is the icing on the cake. He said that we're going to see this game as the main focus in E3, right? Throughout E3 this year. That is exciting, okay? Because if you guys don't know, E3 is in 3 months. That is so close, it's not even funny. That's only a quarter of a year, okay? It's in 3 months. And we could see a Nintendo Treehouse. We could see an entire press conference. We could see a gameplay trailer or a reveal, a release date, a bunch of gameplay. We could get hands-on gameplay at the event. We could literally see people playing the game within a few months here. And E3 is a perfect time for them to do this. It makes so much sense. I really do think that that's the most solid part of a stinking list, okay? That and the HD part, because the HD part is literally a no-brainer. Those two are like the only things that I'm like really like, oh, that is 100% true. But I mean, with that out of the way, and I'm sorry I rushed through all this. Again, I didn't want to talk about this too long, didn't want to ramble too much. I'm just getting back into this, and I'm trying to get back into the swing of things, so just keep that in mind. That's all I've got for you today. Honestly, that's the end of the episode. If you're listening on Spotify, please feel free to follow the podcast and share it with friends. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe, okay? Tell us what you thought about this episode. And of course, until next time, keep up to date with Taiyo. Bye-bye.